Imagine being loved more than anything, and then left behind. Not forgotten, not abandoned, just missed. This is the story of a cat named Echo, and the 1,000 days she waited in silence, in rain, in snow, for someone who never stopped loving her. But love doesn't always come back the way we expect it to. Some stories don't end. They echo. Chapter 1. The Move. The morning they moved, Echo knew something was wrong. She had watched the boxes pile up over the past few days. Watched her girl Lila run her small hands over the taped-up cardboard as if saying goodbye. The air in the house was tense, like a thunderstorm waiting behind the walls. The scent of change was everywhere. Lila was only 8. To her, change meant a new bedroom and different wallpaper. But to Echo, change meant danger. Change meant being lost. She had lived with Lila since the girl was a toddler, a tiny, shrieking ball of light that used to chase shadows in the hallway and fall asleep with Echo curled around her head like a second pillow. Echo was not just a pet. She was the guardian of dreams, the anchor when the house creaked at night, the warmth when tears soaked the sheets. That morning, as the moving men stomped through the house like giants, Echo darted under the couch. She didn't like the sound of boots on tile. She didn't like the smell of strangers. She especially didn't like the open front door that let in all the wrong smells: asphalt, sweat, unknown cats. Lila crouched beside the couch, her eyes wide and anxious. "Come on, Echo. It's time to go." But Echo didn't move. The girl's mother called from outside, her voice sharp. "We have to leave, now." "I can't find her," Lila cried, her voice breaking. "We'll come back for her," her mom lied, the way adults do when they're trying to protect something that's already gone. Then the door closed. Echo heard the latch, the engine, the gravel crunching under tires. She waited. Then she waited longer. The house, once full of voices and furniture, and the soft hum of the refrigerator, fell silent. It smelled like nothing now, just wood and dust and the faint ghost of Lila's shampoo. She crept out slowly, cautiously. Her bowl was empty. Her bed was gone. Everyone was gone. Chapter 2. The first night alone, Echo didn't cry. Cats don't cry the way people do. They mourn in silence, in the twitch of an ear, the tight curl of a sleeping pose meant to protect what's missing. That night, the house moaned with emptiness. Wind rattled the windows. Echo waited by the front door, then the back. She scratched at them gently, meowed once or twice, just in case someone forgot and needed reminding that she was still here, that she'd been left behind by mistake. She dreamed, not of mice or birds, but of a warm hand resting on her head and a voice saying, "I'm here. I didn't forget you." But she woke up to nothing. In the days that followed, she became a shadow slipping between shadows. She scavenged when she could: an open trash can, a leaky hose, a forgotten corner of the neighborhood where a kind old man sometimes left scraps out for strays. But Echo was not a stray. She belonged to someone. She watched families walk their dogs and kids run with backpacks and chalk-covered fingers, and she looked for her girl in every single one. She started sleeping under the porch, tucked behind the lattice where the rain couldn't reach her. She left the yard sometimes, just for a moment, just far enough to look up and down the street. Then she always came back. Because what if Lila did? Seasons began to change. The flowers she used to watch Lila pick every spring bloomed, then withered, then bloomed again. Neighbors came and went. A young couple moved into the house, unaware they were trespassing on sacred ground. Echo didn't mind them. They didn't bother her. But they didn't know her either. The couple adopted a kitten. It was loud and clumsy, and Echo watched it from a distance with quiet disdain. The kitten had no idea what it meant to wait. By day 100, Echo had grown thinner. Her fur was more ragged, but her eyes, golden and alert, still scanned the street for that small figure, that voice, that scent she couldn't forget. Her heart hadn't adjusted the way her body had. She didn't trust people anymore, but sometimes she'd let children pet her, just in case one of them reminded her of Lila. And sometimes, when the wind blew just right, she'd swear she heard her name, Echo, and she'd run to the gate, breathless. But it was never her. Chapter 4. Winter came hard that year. The old man who left scraps had died, or moved, or simply forgotten. The streets grew colder, and Echo's fur couldn't keep out the frost. Her ears ached, her tail trembled. Still, she waited. One night, she saw a woman with long brown hair walking a little girl down the street. Echo perked up. Her body was weak, but she limped to the edge of the sidewalk. The girl looked down. For one moment, their eyes locked. But the woman pulled the child along, and the moment passed. Echo didn't move for hours after they were gone. She just sat there, watching the corner they disappeared around as the snow dusted over her back. Chapter 5. On the 1000th day, the house looked different. Paint peeled from the walls. The yard had grown wild. But the front steps were still the same, and Echo still waited on them, a small, gray shadow that didn't belong to the world anymore, only to memory. And then, a car pulled up. She didn't stir at first. Too many false alarms. But the second the door opened, something shifted. The air changed. A scent, familiar and soft and warm, drifted toward her. Echo? The voice asked. Older now, deeper, but unmistakable. Echo turned, and there, standing in the sun, tears already sliding down her cheeks, was Lila. Chapter 6. Lila stood frozen. Echo didn't move. Not at first. She blinked slowly, disbelieving, as if the memory in her heart was playing tricks again. But Lila knelt. Echo, she whispered, voice shaking, you waited for me. That word, waited, cracked something open in the air between them. Echo took one trembling step forward, then another, and then, with a broken meow, she collapsed into Lila's arms. The girl sobbed, shaking, said, I begged Mom to come back. For years, she said you were gone. She didn't believe me when I said I felt you were still here. Echo pressed her nose into Lila's coat, inhaling the familiar scent beneath the grown-up perfume, and changed voice. This was her girl. Still her girl. But as Lila held her, she noticed something. Echo was frail. Too frail. Her heartbeat was fast, too fast. Chapter 7. Lila refused to leave her behind again. She cradled Echo like something sacred, a relic of a forgotten part of herself she thought had died. I'm taking her to the vet, she said to her mom. Now, her mom didn't argue. Maybe because she saw the look on Lila's face, that quiet fury of guilt and hope battling in her chest. The drive was quiet. Lila's hands trembled on the wheel. Echo lay on a towel in the passenger seat, eyes half closed, chest rising with effort. At a red light, Lila whispered, I'm sorry. I never stopped thinking about you. I had dreams where you were calling me from far away. I didn't know they were real. I didn't know you were really waiting. Echo opened her eyes slowly. One blink. That was enough. She had heard. Chapter 8. The vet's verdict. The vet was gentle. An older woman with kind eyes and soft hands. She took Echo back for tests while Lila sat in the waiting room, fidgeting with her keys. When the vet returned, the look said everything before her mouth did. She has a heart murmur, and her kidneys are showing signs of failure. But she's a fighter. Most cats wouldn't have made it out there this long. Lila swallowed hard. Can she recover? The vet hesitated. With proper care? Possibly. But she's tired, Lila. And if she doesn't want to fight anymore, that has to be okay too. That night, Echo was wrapped in soft blankets, 4 fluids in her paw, and Lila sitting beside her, reading old poems from her childhood out loud. She didn't leave her side once. Chapter 9. Recovery. Or goodbye. For days, Echo didn't move much. She ate little, slept often. Her body was failing, slowly, gently. But there was something else too, something stubborn. Every time Lila entered the room, Echo would lift her head. Just slightly, just enough. "You're still in there," Lila whispered. She spoon-fed her tiny pieces of chicken, brushed her fur gently, even when it clumped in her hands, played the piano softly in the corner, remembering how Echo used to sleep on the keys when she practiced as a kid. Bit by bit, Echo responded. A paw twitch, a louder meow. Then, one afternoon, she climbed onto Lila's lap by herself. Chapter 10. A week later, Lila brought her home. Not the old home, of course. It was gone now, owned by strangers. But Echo didn't care. Home wasn't walls and carpets. It was Lila. She was given a special bed by the window. The sun warmed her bones each morning, and at night, Lila's old baby blanket was tucked beside her, still faintly smelling of childhood dreams and safety. The house was quiet, but this time, it was not empty. Echo purred louder now, deeper, with effort, but with joy. Still, she was old, and as much as Lila didn't want to believe it, Echo had returned for a reason, but not to stay. Not for long. Chapter 11. It was just past 2 a.m. when Lila woke up with the strange feeling that someone had called her name. She sat up, heart thumping. Echo was by her feet, staring at her. Awake, alert, eyes glowing silver in the moonlight, pouring through the window. Lila blinked. "What is it?" Echo let out a sound Lila hadn't heard in years. It wasn't a meow. It was soft, like the wind rustling pages of a book, like someone whispering through a wall. Then, in a voice that seemed to echo through her mind, not her ears, Lila heard it. "I remember you." She didn't scream. She didn't move. She just looked at Echo and whispered, "I remember you too." Chapter 12. Lila couldn't sleep after that. She stayed up watching old videos, pulling up childhood pictures with Echo curled in the corner of every frame. How had she forgotten? No, she hadn't. She'd buried it. After the move, when she lost her school friends, when her parents fought louder than the TV, she shut everything away, including the memory of the softest soul that had ever sat at the foot of her bed. Echo hadn't just waited. She had held the memory alive. For over 1,000 days, rainstorms, snow, hunger, loneliness. A lesser creature would have moved on, but not Echo. Chapter 13. One night, a month after Echo returned, Lila dreamed. In it, she was a child again, sitting in the hallway of their old home, drawing cats on scrap paper. Echo padded over and curled around her legs. Except in the dream, Echo looked younger, healthier. She spoke. "Don't be afraid to love something, even if it leaves." Lila woke up sobbing. Echo was curled against her, breathing shallow but steady. That morning, Lila wrote something on a note and stuck it above her desk. Some spirits never leave. Some stories wait to be remembered. Chapter 14. The final sunrise, it came quietly. Lila knew it would. That morning, Echo didn't wake for breakfast. Her body was curled near the window, where the sun had begun rising, painting her fur with soft orange light. Lila sat beside her. She didn't cry, not yet. She just ran her fingers through her fur and whispered, "You don't have to wait anymore. I'm here." Echo twitched her ears. A final breath rose, then fell, then stillness. But it wasn't emptiness. Lila felt something brush her ankle, like a tail, like a whisper of warmth. She didn't look. She just whispered, "Good girl." Chapter 15. Echoes in the wind. Lila buried Echo beneath the tallest tree in the yard. She planted white daisies and blue wildflowers. Left one of her childhood drawings in a plastic sleeve beside the stone. The house felt quieter, but not empty. Because sometimes, when she sat at the piano and played the old lullaby, she'd feel a breeze curl around her. It didn't come from the window or the vent. It came from the past, from a little orange cat who had waited 1,000 days and still waited, not in sadness, not in pain, but in love. Maybe you've never lost a cat. Maybe you've never had one. But love, real love, leaves behind echoes. In the hallway you once played in the blanket that still holds their fur, in the silence between heartbeats. When you swear, you feel something warm and familiar curl beside you. Echo's story isn't just about a cat. It's about waiting, about holding on when the world moves forward and forgets. It's about the small, quiet souls who stay behind, not because they have to, but because they choose to. So if you've ever loved something that's gone, if you've ever whispered a goodbye that didn't feel like the end, just remember, some spirits don't leave. They wait for the day you remember, and they follow you home.